Good evening. The former Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar's sudden resignation last night at about this time, citing health concerns, has sparked a political firestorm and intense speculation. The Congress and opposition parties questioned the official narrative, pointing to Dhankar's active participation in Rajya Sabha meetings just hours before, with some alleging deeper political motives. Sources suggest tensions flared when Dhankhar accepted an opposition-backed impeachment motion against Delhi High Court Judge Justice Yashwant Verma, catching the government off guard and reportedly leading to a heated exchange with BJP leaders. Now, posts on X and opposition leaders hint at a possible government push to sideline Dhankhar, with some claiming that he preempted an impeachment move by resigning. Now, Prime Minister Modi did praise Dhankar's service, while President Murmu accepted his resignation. As the NDA huddles to name a new vice president, questions linger. Was this health-driven, or was this a political sign, and a big one at that? Next up on the show, love it or loathe it, the MiG-21 has been synonymous with the Indian Air Force for a whopping 62 years. Now, all these decades later, the jet is set to exit the IAF next month. On the show tonight, the former Vice Chief of the Indian Air Force, Air Marshal Anil Khosla, a man who's flown 5 variants of the MiG-21, on the legacy of the fighter, and yes, tough questions as well on its safety record. But let's go and start right away with the big political story that we've been tracking since yesterday, the unexpected resignation of the Vice President of India, Jagdeep Dhankhar. 24 hours later, there is intense controversy on what may have triggered this. There are those who believe that there has been a huge disagreement with the BJP, details of which are only now slowly emerging. Earlier on today, I did speak to a host of political leaders, including leaders from the BJD. Let's listen in.
So thanks very much for being with us. There's a great deal of confusion on why Jagdeep Dhankhar resigned as Vice President of India. And there is a sense that it could have to do with him not being aware or not going about the Justice Verma issue in a way that the government wanted him to, accepting perhaps the impeachment resolution or motion of the opposition instead. Do you believe that that was the fundamental issue which resulted in him choosing to resign?
Honestly, Vishnu, I think there are a lot of conjectures going around in the air currently. But let's give credence to what he has cited in his letter of resignation, which is on health grounds. And we all actually know, I personally know that he had health issues, and he was being chided by his health experts and family doctors for being overtly stressing himself in political activities. But yes, it is intriguing because it came so suddenly. It was shocking, and the first day he could have probably done it before the session started. So there are theories, and one of them is that he accepted this notice. But I would personally think that let's give he's a high constitutional authority, and let's give credence to what he has stated in his letter.
So what happens now? Do you believe that there's going to be that process of the government setting its nominees? There's some sort of discussion possibly with the opposition. Are there any candidates that you see coming to the fore?
See, honestly speaking, unless this has been thought through from before, which I don't think, probably because in that case it would have happened in a more organized manner. The government will have to act quickly, because the election commission has to announce the elections, and the position cannot remain vacant for a long period of time. In the intervening period, probably the deputy chairman of the Rajya Sabha would be presiding over the entire session. And as regards finding an alternative suitable candidate, I'm sure the government machinery would be working on it.
As an experienced political leader, do you believe that we've heard the last of this, given the surprise that it's caused all of us?
I think no. There could be stories. The government could probably come out with a statement. The vice president himself may like to choose to become public in his feelings while taking this drastic step.
The reason I ask is because there is no farewell address. There is no ceremony of any sort. It's just at 9:30 p.m. last night, he put out a press release and he's gone as the Vice President of India. There was a fairly short message from the Prime Minister. The resignation has been accepted by the President. So it seems some would suggest that all is not well between the government and Mr. Dhankar. How would you respond to that?
Yeah, firstly, I think to the first part of your question, as regards a farewell speech and a ceremonial kind of exit from the chair, the very fact that this is happening for the first time in the history of India would suggest that this was not thought through from before. This was definitely, kind of shocking for both the government and I think the entire house. And the second thing is that yes, the situation has become very tense. Probably because of what the government wanted and what the vice president probably didn't think the right way. But I must tell you this, that the vice president's position is supposed to be apolitical and it is supposed to be completely independent. And I'm sure Mr. Dhankhar would have been exercising his duties and responsibilities, keeping that in mind. And I must also tell you that the opposition at one point of time had moved a no confidence motion against him. So it is not that he was the voice of the opposition. So there must be something.
In fact, quite to the contrary, he was extremely combative. There was, let's face it, no real love lost between him and the opposition. And clearly it appears that there are differences between him and the government as well. How would you look at his legacy? Just 2 years down, he's chosen to quit. But on so many issues, he's taken on the opposition, he's taken on the judiciary. He's had a fairly challenging equation with Mamata Banerjee when he was the Bengal governor as well. What do you see as the legacy of Jagdeep Dhankhar, and now he's gone?
Well, I think that was the man he is. Everybody is different. And for those 2 years that I was there in the parliament when he became the vice president and the chairman of Rajya Sabha, one thing that stood out is that he was not someone who was going to lie back and just watch the proceedings from the sidelines. He would like to make observations and interventions and bring his enormous judicial knowledge into the floor. So maybe that was very different. Honestly speaking, he brought a lot of erudition into the house. Some of it not liked by the opposition. Some of it may not have been liked by the government. But in the whole, I would probably think that he was a different vice president. I had seen Mr. Naidu, Venkaiah Naidu, when he was in the chair. He was very erudite too. But his way of conducting the house was very different than Mr. Dhankar's. And Mr. Dhankar's history in West Bengal would suggest that he was somebody who wanted to be in the thick of things. He was not somebody who would watch from the sidelines.
All right. Great speaking to you. Thank you so much for speaking to me. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, joining us now, Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, he's a fourth-term sitting MP, a member of the Congress Working Committee, and of course, one of the best-known lawyers in this country. Thanks so very much for being with us. Now, Dr. Singhvi, you often try to be diplomatic on my programs. You've got your ear very much to the ground. Some sources suggest that tensions flared when Mr. Dhankhar accepted an opposition-backed impeachment motion against the Delhi High Court Judge Yashwant Verma, and that apparently caught the government off guard. It reportedly led to a heated exchange with BJP leaders, and now he's gone. Is that your sense as well?
Okay, Vishnu, diplomatic, yes, but largely truthful and candid. And I don't think there is any inherent contradiction between being diplomatic and candid. Let me make a couple of preliminary points. Preliminary point number one, frankly, no one knows, neither you, nor me, nor the preceding speaker, nor all the speculation in the press. Only numero uno knows, and at the most numero duo knows. And later on, maybe some of the ministers have come to know. So you must realize that whatever discussions we have, they are good for your TRP ratings and for all of us to have some nice discussion, but we are really speculating. Let's face that truth. Second, I wish Mr. Dhankhar well. I wish him the best of health. He's from my state. I have known him as a lawyer, an extremely intelligent man, very acute person. So, irrespective of the reasons behind it, I do genuinely wish him well in the future endeavors of his life.
Dr. Singhvi, sorry, go ahead,
coming
sir.
to your question.
Go ahead.
Sorry, coming to your question. There is no doubt that the immediate trigger, and mark my words, immediate trigger appears to be the Verma motion. And you know the stories which are in the press, and we are also members of the Rajya Sabha, and that he admitted a motion in the Rajya Sabha, whereas the government wanted it to be exclusively in the Lok Sabha. Now, what I'm saying, as I said, is of course speculative. It's my personal view, nothing to do with the Congress. I believe that this trigger may well have been the immediate trigger, but this cannot be the real reason or the aggregation of angst and reasons which led to his departure. This is far too trivial. It hardly matters if Justice Verma, as they say, you can't hang a man twice or thrice. If Justice Verma is impeached in the Lok Sabha or jointly same motion is moved in Rajya Sabha, or indeed, and remember, it's one of those rare motions where the viewpoints of the government and the opposition are converging.
Yeah.
I have myself been involved in this whole impeachment process
Yes.
As an advisor. So, at the moment, by the way, it's not impeachment, it's only the statutory committee being made. So, I think that this may have been the trigger, but this is like that trigger which is the culmination of an aggregation of earlier dissatisfactions. Clearly, there is something much more major.
So, what happens
now?
I mean, from a legal standpoint, and wear your legal hat now, what happens now? Because we can't, go without a vice president for too long. There is it's a detailed sort of process for selecting the vice president. Would you look in the opposition and in the Congress party for a consensus candidate? Do you believe that there'll be battle lines drawn there?
I wanted to complete my first answer, but I'll come to that later. Let me answer your last question more immediately. Actually, the process for vice president's election is simpler than most might think, especially much simpler compared to that of the president. So, as far as the process is concerned, it's not complicated. Our two houses simply vote. In the aggregate, whatever, 800 people, 750 people. It's an easy vote in one building, in one day, in a few hours. As far as consensus is concerned, it's obviously the best. However, being very candid, and I'm certainly not speaking for my party because this discussion has not even started. Indeed, this is not a party discussion. It have to be an India Alliance discussion, quite frankly. Given the record of the last 10 years, where unilateralism is the key word of the moment, I have majority, so I be unilateral. I doubt very much if there will be even an attempt at consensus as far as the ruling party is concerned. Ruling party is the one which has to move for consensus. But just because you have or apparently have a majority in the two houses put together, I doubt very much if the nature of things, the nature of the top bosses of the ruling party is that of trying for a consensus. If it happens, I'd be very happy. That's the way it should be. And the person who's elected, as a consequence of such consensus, his hands and his whole role is strengthened considerably. But just to finish on the last point, there is also clearly a suddenness because everything as far as his second day's program is concerned was known. The Prime Minister's acceptance of his resignation was terse, short. So I think an accumulation of various factors, some of which I can't speak of on television, have led to the clearly being told to leave. Obviously, the reason given in the letter is not accepted by most people. He has gracefully exited, but I have no doubt, if I was to call a spade, and as I said, marry diplomacy with candor, that this is not a voluntary departure in any which way. And it is been told to him and he has done it in a few hours, which is sad. It also, in a sense, strengthens both my admiration and my negative comment about this government, which is that it is completely, control-free, micromanaged. The discipline or the mesmeric, hypnotic hold on every small thing is very clear. To have a vice president depart in a few hours shows you that micro-control at the highest constitutional office. And let me also finish by saying that the corridors of power have the usual whispers behind the pillars. that there is a lot of manthan going on in the change which the BJP is undergoing in the selection of its president. So it's always possible that I want to put A where Mr. Dhankar was sitting. And when A vacates his place and gets to Mr. Dhankar's place, then B in the place of A, and then C in the place of B. So it could be part of a much larger reshuffle.
Was there in the last little while, and this is another rumor, that he was coordinating more with the opposition because he's had a very combative relationship with all of you. He was coordinating in the last finite period in a better manner with a lot of you, and that perhaps is something which irritated some in the government.
I don't think that is either fair comment or accurate. Look, as far as you put it, we meaning the non-ruling party, the first day of the session is when this happened. You really had only 2 days. Some meetings took place on Sunday and this happened on Monday.
Right.
Now, none of his past record shows that he has been, as you say, coordinating and cooperating. In fact, he's been very brusque, to put it mildly. Some people say he's been very harsh. He's the only sitting vice president to have faced an impeachment motion. So I think to suggest that any softness on the opposition benches is the ground would be quite a farce. It would be quite a distorted statement.
All right. Well, I would suggest that it's not the last of this that we've heard. We'll have to wait and see where this goes. But Dr. Singhvi, always a pleasure speaking to you on what took us all very much by surprise. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.